He's riding around in a limousine chariot with like spinning rims on it. He's got Rolex watches, and I mean, he's a wee little man, I get it, but financially speaking, he is big time. He's got everything. But isn't it interesting, and we've all met people like this, isn't it interesting how somebody can have absolutely everything, but at the very same time have absolutely nothing? Have you ever met someone like that? They've got everything, but then at the same time they have nothing. Zacchaeus, like a lot of people today, he has gone through his life trying to purchase joy, trying to purchase contentment, trying to purchase relief from his guilty conscience. And money can do a lot of things, but money cannot do that. He's bought everything there is to buy. He's gone everywhere there is to go, experienced all there is to experience, but like the book of Ecclesiastes, he gets to the end of it and he says, you know what, every bit of this is vanity. Every bit of this is like chasing after the wind. It's like trying to fill a bucket that has no bottom in it. No matter what I do, no matter how much I buy, no matter how much I make, no matter how powerful my empire becomes, it's just not enough. It's not enough to satisfy. So, Zacchaeus is hoping that there's something more. And he's hoping that this Jesus is that something more. So Jesus has come to town, and understand the place is extremely crowded because it's the time of Passover, but it's even more crowded because there's all this buzz, all this noise going on about this Jesus guy that has come on the scene. People are hearing that, he's walking on the water, and he's controlling the weather, and he's casting out demons, and he's making deaf people hear, and blind people see, and dead people living. I mean, it just seems like he can do anything, and so everybody is funneling into this place to see this character named Jesus. And Jesus is on his way to Jerusalem. He's walking down the streets, and so you've got like a train of thousands of people that are following him. And so, verse 3, Zacchaeus was trying to see who Jesus was, and he was unable because of the crowd, for he was small in stature. So Zacchaeus has got two problems. It's a big crowd, and he's a little guy. The crowd is so thick, he can't see through it. And Zacchaeus is so short, he can't see over it. So it's a problem. And I just need to say in defense of Zacchaeus, if you hold your place here, we'll turn right back. But turn with me to the book of Job, chapter 2. This is what I'm about to show you is extremely powerful stuff. It is really worth underlining. I just need to defend Zacchaeus on something right here. For many years, I had always heard people say that Zacchaeus is the shortest guy in the Bible. Zacchaeus is not the shortest guy in the Bible. The shortest guy in the Bible is found in Job chapter 2 and verse 11. When you get it, say got it. Job chapter 2, verse 11. It says, when Job's 3 friends heard of all his adversity that had come upon him, they each came, each one from his own place. Eliphaz, the Temanite, Bildad, the Shuhite, and Zophar, the Naamathite, and they made an appointment together to come to sympathize with him and comfort him. Now, the guy Bildad, he is, we know for sure, the shortest guy in the Bible because it says he was a Shuhite, which means he was the only height of a shoe. Even if you're wearing like water boots, they're going that high. He's still not very tall. So, give Zacchaeus a break. He was a wee little man, but he was not a Shuhite. All right? I told you that was powerful stuff. Did you underline it? All right. Luke 19. Back to Luke 19. So, if you're Zacchaeus, you are in a really embarrassing situation because just get this picture in your mind. This very rich man, he's got an empire, a very powerful man, probably feared man. There's probably a lot of people working for him. And he just wants to see Jesus. And so he's behind this crowd, and he's a short little guy, and he's wanting to see Jesus, and everybody's telling him, so what do you think he's doing? What would you do? I mean, the guy's jumping up and down at least. But a guy can only jump so high. Nobody's going to let him sit on their shoulders because he's the reason why they're broke. So finally Zacchaeus says, you know what, forget this. Verse 4. He ran on ahead and climbed up into a sycamore tree in order to see him, for he was about to pass through that way. So Zacchaeus, he's got this crowd in front of him. He says, I know what I'm going to do. So he runs around the crowd. And he's going down these side streets. So he's jumping over fences into people's backyards, and he's taking out clotheslines, and he's stepping on people's cats and dogs accidentally. He's just trying to get to the other side. He finally gets to 3rd Street because before long Jesus is going to be coming out that way. So he rounds the corner and he climbs up into a tree. How embarrassing is this for you if you're Zacchaeus? Can you see, like the richest man in Israel, and probably like diamond-studded python-skin boots, he's climbing up into this tree, and he's hoping for one thing. I hope nobody sees me up here. I really hope nobody sees me up here. And so he gets in that tree, and he's taking every branch and every leaf and every limb, and he's pulling them around himself. He's probably, he's wishing he had a ghillie suit. You know, he just doesn't want to be seen, because what's going to happen if he's seen? Imagine New York Times shows up, and they've got this front page news. They've got a picture of the richest man in Israel hiding in this tree, and the headline would say, Zacchaeus, the real nature boy, hiding in a tree. This is terrible for his reputation. So there he is, and he's hidden. He's got them limbs pulled around him. And all of a sudden, verse 5, when Jesus came to the place, he looked up and said to him, Zacchaeus! Cover's blown, right? Cover's blown then and there. Zacchaeus! Hurry and come down, for today I must stay at your house. Can you see Zacchaeus? He's up there, and he's like, I can see him, but he can't see me. And all of a sudden, Jesus just stops and looks up and says, Zacchaeus! And Zacchaeus is like, he's probably like, me? And Jesus is like, no, the other Zacchaeus hiding in the other tree. Yeah, you could get down from there. And understand this, the train of people is now stopped. Right? Jesus stopped, everybody else stops. And everybody hears Jesus say Zacchaeus, and they're like, did he just say Zacchaeus? Yeah, I think he said Zacchaeus. And remember, everybody hates Zacchaeus. He's why they're broke. And they look, and sure enough, there's little Zacchaeus monkeying down that tree. And when they see him, Tabasco sauce is immediately running through their veins. They are so mad. They cannot stand this guy. And because they hate him, what do you think they're expecting Jesus to say to him? They're expecting wrath. They're expecting judgment. They're expecting condemnation. These people are like, well, we hate him, so Jesus should hate him too. But they don't get what they were expecting, and neither does Zacchaeus. Because Jesus says to him, today I must stay at your house. Now, why must Jesus stay at his house? Did Zacchaeus run a bed and breakfast? I don't think so. If you'll let your mind go here, it's pretty amazing. Jesus had to stay at the house of Zacchaeus because Jesus had on his agenda from before the foundation of the world that on this day, at this time, he would find a lost sinner named Zacchaeus. He has now found that lost sinner named Zacchaeus, and now Jesus must go to the house of Zacchaeus because he now has an appointment for salvation with Zacchaeus. Now let that one rattle around in your brain for a minute. Everything in Zacchaeus' life has been moving to this moment, but this moment started before the foundation of the world, and it's been moving to this moment. And then verse 6. Zacchaeus hurried and came down, and he received Jesus gladly. Now I've played this couple different scenarios of this in my mind, wondering what does it mean that he received Jesus gladly. One scenario I thought of was that, okay, here's Zacchaeus, and now he is seeing face to face all these people who hate him. So one scenario could be that when it says he receives him gladly, it could be that he's looking at all his haters, and it's a nana boo boo kind of thing. You know what I mean? That he's looking at all these people that just can't stand him, and he's like, oh, well, you know, you hate me, do you? You won't even let me come to your synagogue services, will you? Well, how do you like me now? Now, not only do I got all your money, now I've also got your Messiah. Ha! What do you think about that? But I don't think that's it, do you? I think when it says he received him gladly, I think this is a man who hates who he has become. This is a man who has forfeited every relationship in his life. This is a man who, for all these years, has been trying to fill a void, but nothing has worked. Every day, his heart is just racked with guilt and shame, and he's receiving Jesus gladly because finally he's going to receive relief for his guilt-ridden heart. You see, everybody who truly understands their need of salvation is glad to receive it. Amen? Were you not glad to receive your salvation? Now, how do the crowds respond? I mean, they see this wonderful thing taking place here. They say, verse 7, how wonderful it is to see the grace of God on such an undeserving sinner. Is that what it says? When they saw it, they all began to grumble, saying, he has gone to be the guest of a man who's a sinner. Now, can you imagine that? Now, surely this kind of thing never happens, right? Somebody's wrecked their life, made a disaster of their life, hurt all kind of people. But then they decide enough is enough, and they turn to God, and God just unloads all kind of grace on their life, and God even begins to use them, and surely nobody ever sees that and gets mad. Actually, it does happen. And these people that are mad at seeing the grace of God showered on this guy's life, you know, that is really exposing their hearts. Their hearts ain't where it's supposed to be. And if you're the kind of person where you see a guy or a girl or whoever, and they made a lot of mistakes, and pretty well made a wreck of their life, but then they turn to God, and all of a sudden God is just pouring grace and mercy into their lives, and is building them up, and is restoring them, and is using them. And if that bothers you, you really need to wonder whether or not you're really saved. Because how can you be a sinner who receives the undeserved grace of God and then get mad when you see a fellow sinner receive the undeserved grace of God? This shouldn't make you mad. It ought to make you rejoice in all these people here. This should be a worship service. But it's the furthest thing from it. Verse 8. Zacchaeus stopped and said to the Lord, behold, Lord, half of my possessions I'm going to give them to the poor. Now you look at that and say, what do you mean half, man? Because every